and gentlemen, welcome to Hero Movie Podcast, your greatest source for superhero movie discussion in the multiverse. I am your host, Adam Portrais. Sean Keenan is still on assignment, but I am, of course, joined by Bruce Leslie.
I'm a prickly pear, and we were riding a gravy train with biscuit wheels till you showed up, Adam.
Let me tell you, there's all kinds of gravy going on with this movie. This week, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be reviewing Ghost Rider starring Nic Cage. Yes, we did Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance a while back, and for those of you who don't know, that is where Bruce's prickly pear came from. So if you want to hear the origins of that story, go back and listen to the Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance review. I don't remember what number it is because I didn't plan that far. But go look it up. There's only 100-some-odd episodes. You'll find it quick.
But man, when you've got the star of Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance and the director of the Ben Affleck Daredevil, you know this movie's got to be good.
You've got nothing but a recipe for gold. Pure, unadulterated gold.
And I'm a big Donald Logue fan, so you can't go wrong with Harvey Bullock.
We know you are. We know you are. The man can't be stopped. He's a big Donald Logue fan.
Yes.
Speaking of fans, we have fans that take the time out of their precious day, Bruce, and they go down to the thing that we like to call the iTunes. They dropped us a 5-star review on there. We have a little nickname for those of you who are new to the show. Any 5-star review on iTunes is also known as a humdinger.
Humdinger.
And we've got another one here. This is from Jecgee, Jecgee. Jecgee, what do you think?
Sure, man.
I'll take that.
That works for me.
And now, Jecgee, this is a PG-rated program. And now, granted, they didn't write it out, and they wrote it out in very New Englandy fashion, I guess, for Sean. We're going to say... Mara, it's a humdinger of sorts. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it.
You know, there's a New England way to say MFer in there.
And it's hopefully that's what he was going for, and we didn't misinterpret.
I hope so, or maybe, you know, who knows? He might have had a stroke on that first one, and we're just like, oh, no, I'm okay. Humdinger. May have just been a keyboard spasm. We don't know.
He sneezed while typing.
Well, I'm not going back and fixing that. I strive forward into my affairs. I go straight on, and I don't give a crap about nothing else. And so he wrote this down. 5 stars. If you like comics, superheroes, not so superheroes, and villains, you'll love this podcast. Check it out. Simple, sweet, and to the point. Jecgee, you, whoever left us, you're a man amongst men or a woman amongst women, depending upon what you are. Given the internet in this podcast, probably a dude, but you never know. Never know. But so thank you for that. And if you'd like to leave us a 5-star review, aka Humdinger.
Humdinger.
Very good. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Watch your pants there, Shawnee boy. Oof. I don't know about that one. That was a good one. That was your best yet. You have been practicing that.
Oh, man, I'm going to sample one someday so I can just click on it on my desktop, and you'll think it's Sean.
He's just like, I'm just going to think it's the boom there. It's there every time. You don't have to worry about it. I like it. That's called efficiency. You're an efficient man. But yeah, you can go down, rate us. I'd really appreciate that. And hey, man, we got a couple from other countries and stuff. We're going to talk about those in subsequent episodes and everything. And again, if you guys rate us on a country other than America on the iTunes, why not just send us a link or just, you know, just copy and paste that bad boy. Send it to a heromoviepodcast@gmail.com, and we'll read that on the air, man, because we don't always go and check those, but...
Yeah, but we know we got a couple in Canada that we will be getting to.
Thank you to our lovely, lovely Canadian brethren. So, Bruce, before we get started with Ghost Rider, I almost wanted to call it Spirit of Vengeance, but, you know, this is not that movie. This is another movie.
This is just Ghost Rider Spirit. No vengeance
just
yet.
Plain old Ghost Rider. Though he does say Spirit of Vengeance in the movie, which I did not recognize. I was just like, oh, well, how about that? They kind of named the sequel within the movie itself. Before we get to that, I don't know if you've been on the internet, Bruce.
Once or twice.
You know, it's the information superhighway, as it's also known.
I mainly use it to play solitaire.
Mostly solitaire stuff, but outside of that, you're pretty much just all, you know, handwritten letters, right?
Yeah.
So there's a little thing going on right now called Comic-Con in San Diego that happened this weekend, and let me tell you, the news and stuff was out in full force.
And you were on top of Facebook, man, sharing all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah,
you kept me up to date.
Facebook.com/HeroMoviePodcast. So if you're out there and you're just like, hey, man, I want to keep up on stuff, that's the way to go do it, man. Drop us a like there. We're almost at 2,000 likes at this point. We really appreciate that. And, but yeah, man, so tons of stuff. The first thing I kind of want to talk about that really just blew my socks off was the Doctor Strange trailer.
Oh, man, tell us more about that one.
Oh my gosh. So we'd gotten the Doctor Strange teaser previously and everything, but this one really gives us a look at how mind-bendy crazy this thing is going to be. I'm telling you guys right now, spend the money to see this in 3D. I think it is going to be astounding.
And, I've been big on this movie, very curious to see what this movie gives us. So I'm glad they gave us a trailer to look at, and I'm going to check it out real quick. Don't worry, it's muted so you won't hear it, but I'm going to check it out for just a second if you can vamp.
But yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch looks great. I mean, we really get a very good arc of the story. So if you're not familiar with Doctor Strange, it's going to give you a little bit of ideas to kind of what to expect. And man, it looks like they just took the world and put it through a crazy kaleidoscope.
Do you have any idea who the cinematographer is on this? Because this is looking beautiful, these clips.
Oh, shucks. Not right off the top of my head. I don't.
Man, but I mean, this is like legitimately like Inception level good. The effects, the cinematography. I'm curious if this will maybe get a nod at the big awards coming out in November and all.
Ben Davis is the actual cinematographer. You might have known him from such small films as like Age of Ultron and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians and Age of Ultron did look good, but there's something about the aesthetic on Doctor Strange here. I think it just might get some consideration for cinematography and definitely for effects.
Oh, for effects, you're gonna be hard pressed. It'll be probably that, and obviously Star Wars is because we're gonna have a Star Wars every year, kids. So get used to that. But so my guess is it'll definitely get an effects thing, maybe a cinematography. But man, it looks really good. I like everybody in it is doing well. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with this thing. And again, it's one of those where people don't know who Doctor Strange is. Not really.
And I love it, too, that it's going to be out in November because the summer was a little crowded this year. Putting it out in November, everything's kind of quieting down, and Marvel's had a pretty long history of giving us something in November. Mm-hmm. I think this will be great to kind of keep us going till Rogue One hits.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice little thing there, and that's coming. It'll be hot on the heels of kind of Luke Cage will have started to die down at that point and everything in September. Which, by the way, let's get to that real quick.
Yeah, because of all the trailers and teasers and things that they debuted at Comic-Con, I think that Luke Cage has me the most excited, man. I was clapping. I was getting the same joy I would get from actually watching an episode of a really good show, just watching that trailer. And I love the way that it appears they're going to give us Luke in this TV series.
I'm excited to see what they're doing, and even though I've seen kind of reports and stuff, they're like, hey man, Luke Cage has just been a side character in Jessica Jones. This is his movie, so we're gonna really see him in action and really see him doing what he does. And
he looks awesome, man. I mean, the butt kicking and everything just looks awesome in this trailer.
Just ripping off a car door, walking through this is gonna be his Daredevil scene, walking through, just beating the snot out of everybody, and wrapping a car door around a dude to subdue him.
I'm just awesome. Laughing and pumping my fist the whole time. I mean, I am loving it.
Just smack it through. So I'm super stoked for where that thing goes.
And all the Netflix teasers that they gave us, excellent music choices by the Marvel folks.
Mm-hmm. We finally got it was a little bit short, but we got an Iron Fist kind of trailer and everything. So that's coming down the pipe.
And the Defenders, exciting. Man. Oh, the Defenders captured my imagination too.
Defenders are going to be there. We got everything. They announced a season 3 for Daredevil. We got an official announcement for Punisher, so that's super exciting. I'm telling you, man, Marvel is just kind of just knocking it out of the park here, and they don't feel like they've stumbled to me yet. And then they go and cast Brie Larson as Captain Marvel.
Now, tell me more about your opinion on this casting, because I've never seen The Room. I understand she's incredible in it, but I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know a lot about her.
She's a great actress and everything. I think she's maybe a touch unconventional for this type of role, but I think that's going to be real. I think that's going to be fine.
She doesn't look real physical to me. But like I said, I haven't actually seen her in action. I'm just basing that on, what photographs of her look like.
Yeah, and it's going to be a little bit. And, she can probably, they as all these people do for all the films, whether you're a man or a woman or whatever, they put you through enough rigorous training and stuff to where, she'll get a little bit more muscle time. I mean, Gal Gadot was like a thin little tiny rail.
That's true, man. That's true.
In those Fast and Furious movies. But she got in really good shape. I love her look of Wonder Woman. We'll get to talk about that in just a second. But
does Brie Larson have some comedy experience too? I think that's always a big part of these Marvel movies. I know The Room probably wasn't a laugh riot, but she's done other stuff, right?
Not a lot of laugh riots there in The Room. Hey, hey, have you been stuck in this room by a captor for many years of your life? Not really a lot of flopping around and laughing in that particular one. Well,
not a real knee slapper.
No, she was in Trainwreck, and you can really you can say that's funny or not. I'm not really sure, but she's done a lot of stuff. Don John was really good. She was in 21 Jump Street, so she's been in some comedies and stuff.
Okay, so I've seen her. I just don't recognize. I've seen Don John in 21 Jump Street. I just didn't recognize her from anything other than The Room.
Yeah, and and like I said, we literally, this is the first time we've had an Oscar nominee in Robert Downey Jr. But now he's never won, sadly. But I think for some of those ones he was nominated for, he should have won. But this is going to be our first actual Oscar winner in a Marvel movie.
You mean Samuel L. Jackson's never won an Oscar?
No, he's never won an Oscar for screaming.
Oh man, what about Don Cheadle?
No, but I wouldn't be surprised if
because I thought in Hotel Rwanda maybe he got an Oscar.
He may have got a nomination, but
Terrence Howard.
I don't think so. Terrence Howard, I forget. Now listen, none of them have won.
Rhodey, I think we may have 2 Oscar winners in Rhodey Rhodes.
No, they've never won. They may have been nominated. I can't think off the top of my head, but I know they haven't won. She's the first winner, the proper winner. But I will say this: oh snap, you're actually you're. Comic book people, you're wrong. I just put something together. We're gonna rewind a little bit, and this is gonna be a big moment for our show. Is in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Sylvester Stallone has been confirmed. So guess what? Sorry, Brie Larson, you're gone. Sylvester Stallone will actually be the first person to actually have an Academy Award for on screen in a Marvel movie. Sorry,
Sweet.
Stallone beats you out, and that's going to be our first ever one-to-one Stallone connection. I pray for whatever Sean has to do for that, because here's the thing: while that sounds easy, he's got to do something big. So that's on you. Start writing now, buddy. So like that was a big thing. Man, there was so much to talk about. The full cast.
No, if he wanted to, he could do the Stallone connection and be snarky, because isn't Kurt Russell also going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy of Tango and Cash fame?
Yes, and he's going to be playing what's the planet's name again? I forget off the top of my head.
Spartax?
No. Flipping. Hold on. I got the thing here. There's so much news I can't really keep track of.
What planet are you talking about?
Ego the Living Planet.
Ego the Living Planet's going to be Kurt Russell?
That's Kurt Russell's role. Did you know? No, you haven't read that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
man. I thought it was going to be like Jason of Spartax, Peter Quill's father.
Well, he is good at. Well, technically, according to I don't know what it is. I haven't really read, and I don't want to read too deep on these because I kind of want to be surprised in these.
Yeah,
flicks.
Me too.
But apparently, it's going to be both.
So maybe he'll do the whole Tango and Cash thing and be snarky about it.
I don't know, but I'm excited about that.
I just confirmed Hotel Rwanda Academy Award for Best Actor went to Don Cheadle. No, he was nominated.
Nominated.
Damn it. I thought I had something.
That's why you gotta...
I'm slow. I don't use the internet, so I had to pull out the old Encyclopedia Britannica and look it up.
Pull out kicked on your old Reebok shoes and pulled open the old Encyclopedia Britannica, flipped to the part that says Oscars, and then somehow updated it so it said something within the last 10 years. I think that's actually more impressive than being able to swiftly navigate the internet.
Oh, man. So I was close, but no cigar twice.
But man, oh man. So I'm like, there was just so much news on all these fronts and everything. The entire cast for Black Panther was kind of put out on stage and everything.
And I saw that Michonne, the actress who plays Michonne on Walking Dead, has been added to the Black Panther movie cast.
Mm-hmm. So really excited about that. So they're kind of still working out the script and everything here. It has been confirmed Ben Affleck will be directing the solo Batman movie. So, that's always been kind of sort of rumored at this point. And we all figured it to be true, but that's kind of really been confirmed there. So that's a big one.
Now, what are you going to hit on next? Because there's a couple of other things that really captured my imagination.
Okay, what do you got? Anything?
Well, the new teaser, do you want to call that a teaser, sizzle reel, the Justice League Comic-Con footage?
That's a tough one. I don't know really what to call that. I'd almost call it kind of a sizzle reel-esque kind of thing, because it's not really a trailer per se, because it doesn't really follow kind of a trailer narrative exactly, but it kind of does, maybe.
Man, I'm going to say that I like what I saw there. I think it's a big improvement over BVS, but I also really like the Comic-Con sizzle reel for BVS that came out too. You know, they first off had the sizzle reel with Ben Affleck running into the building as it was falling, and they didn't give us the Doomsday stuff in that first one. So I'm really liking what I see in this Justice League sizzle reel, which I'll call it for lack of anything else. What do you think about it?
I think it's okay. It looks all right. It didn't feel kind of epic enough to me. It didn't feel like, and I don't want
and
it
I think I'm encouraged by that because I felt like they tried a little too hard on BVS to make it more epic than it needed to be, and it just got crowded.
Maybe epic's the wrong term. Maybe just like I didn't feel any gravity to anything. I think that's the biggest thing, is that it all felt a little bit too light. It all felt like nothing had really been done yet. It just
well,
felt like
I'm sure that there's a whole lot that hasn't been done yet. But the one part I didn't really like as much, I'm still cold on Ezra Miller. I got to admit, I'm still a little cold on Ezra Miller as the Flash, Barry Allen. He seems more like a Wally to me.
Yeah, I warmed a touch because like I like the stuff that I've seen him act in, I haven't been super keen about. So I warmed a little bit, but still at this point, and I don't know. He just seemed also to make Barry kind of a sad sack too. Like,
yeah,
he's just like, no, like man, I need friends, bro.
Man, I'm loving what I see of Jason Momoa as Aquaman here. I think he's going to be like the Thor of the DC universe. I like the little touch of backstory with Vic Stone, Cyborg. I really like what I've seen here. And I always, from the get-go have been a supporter of Affleck as Batman, but I like what I see there. But then again, I was really, really up on BVS before I saw it.
What is with, you confirm if I'm going bonkers here. Why aren't Jason Momoa's eyes brown?
I don't know. I would imagine, to be honest, if I'm facetious, I think they probably have colored contact lenses that he wears.
I know that's what he's doing, but why?
To make him look aquatic.
Whatever.
Like the deep blue sea in his eyes. Aren't they like aquamarine? It's Aquaman, lives in the water, aquamarine eyes. Makes sense. They're going to get rid of the blonde hair. At least give him the aquamarine eyes.
He looks like a daywalker, man. I don't know it looks odd. They should change that. It just looks jarring to look into his eyes and just see these like really light colored eyes in this dark complexioned man. It seems weird.
Yeah, well, the ladies like it.
I don't know that that's true because he looks bizarre. I'm not saying look, if he looks super handsome, if he looked like Ryan Reynolds or something, I'd be like, "Ooh, look at that."
Before my hair was more salt than pepper, I used to have like really dark hair and blue eyes, and the girls always told me they liked that combination back, 35 years ago.
Yeah, but you didn't look like a vampire. Those were just blue eyes.
You don't know that.
These are practically white, man. He's like looks like he's just got pupils.
You do make a valid point there, but it might have had something to do with the mullet I was sporting too. Chicks used to dig the mullet.
Oh yeah, a little bit of business in the front, party in the back. So that's always good.
You got a little spiky on top just to prove a point. Called it the old Tennessee top hat, the Kentucky mudflat.
Indeed. So we got a little bit of a kind of a teaser. They're going to do some Court of Owls in Gotham Season 3.
And there was another bomb dropped about Gotham during an interview. It was like an online interview. It wasn't an actual panel at SDCC, but Ben McKenzie said that about halfway through the series that Gordon was going to become another iconic DC character, though he didn't say who. But it's got a lot of people speculating maybe they will make him like the Batman that inspires Bruce Wayne to become Batman. In the comics just recently, Jim Gordon did take over the role of Batman for a while.
Yeah.
So that might be what they're doing, or maybe something else.
I don't know what the heck they're doing on that show.
I'd like to see Donald Logue, Harvey Bullock, become Batman.
I'd like to see Donald Logue become Harley Quinn. I just like at this
I'd
point.
like that too.
At this point, that's what they're doing. I had so much hope for this show and as to where it could go, and I just think they're aiming to put as much crap in there as they possibly can, and I just don't think they. I don't know.
In some bizarre way, the further off the rails it gets, the more I like it, man, because at least they're doing something. Like everything I don't like about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I do like about Gotham.
That's fair enough. Well, he just, I don't know that he can go lower than a 1-star review, Bruce. Good job.
Oh, man, I love Gotham now.
Now, we did see a Wonder Woman trailer, and that Wonder Woman trailer, now, for what I have invested in the DC universe, that's the thing to me that looks really, really good. I'm excited about what that movie is going to bring.
No joke about that, man. And Gal Gadot she's went from someone that I totally couldn't picture as Wonder Woman to now I can't picture anybody else being Wonder Woman. She was the bright spot of BVS, and she looks wonderful in this trailer. And I'm a Chris Pine fan, man. I don't know. How do you feel about Chris Pine?
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of him in most things, yeah.
I mean, I've gotten to be a bigger fan in the last couple of years than I was initially, but I like the guy, and I think he's going to make a great Steve Trevor. I just don't know what I wish there was some way they could have him be in the modern day rather than the World War I era, because whatever they do to try to carry his character over from Wonder Woman to whatever comes next is not going to satisfy me, you know?
Raise him in carbonite.
Well, they could do like the old Linda Carter TV show where he said, yes, this is Steve Trevor's great-grandson, Steve Trevor, and he looks just like him. He's still Lyle Wagner.
Never you mind. Never you mind.
Yeah. So maybe they'll do something like that. But, you know, I'm a big Chris Pine fan now, which is something I couldn't always say that I was. And I like his role as Steve Trevor. I like the way he's the damsel in distress. I love the little scene with Etta Candy, a nice throwback from like Golden Age Wonder Woman stories where she says she's his secretary and Wonder Woman says, well, where I come from, that's slavery. And she goes, I like this lady. I mean, it's just, it looks like it's going to be wonderful, man. And you know, I'm a little bit just high on all the new information coming in at once. I'm not being as critical as I could be, but I honestly think Wonder Woman's going to be a good movie. Who's the lady they have directing that? She's somebody pretty impressive, right?
Patty Jenkins, who, if I'm not mistaken, who was initially going to direct the second Thor movie, but they had like a conflict of ideas or something. Yeah,
so I think she's a pretty cool director. I think it's going to be a good film. I really do, and I love it that it's going to be a period piece. Kind of, you know, we know what they're doing. They looked at Captain America, the first Avenger, and they're doing something like that, but they're going back even further to World War I instead of World War II.
And, of course, jumping back to Marvel real quick when we got it, like, I'm so excited, Bruce.
Yeah?
Peter Parker is going to be 15 years old, and he's going to be in the 10th grade.
Oh, man, I was hoping he'd be 15 years old and in the 11th grade, get double promoted.
I am super excited. We are putting Peter Parker in high school. He's not a senior, so I hope we get at the very least, 2 high school movies with Peter Parker. I think that's where he belongs. Now, what's his nose there? My brain just can't. I forgot his flipping name off the top of my head.
Who I could probably help you if you gave me something to work with.
Spider-Man.
Tom Holland?
Tom Holland. I don't know why my brain couldn't remember. But Tom Holland's only 20 years old, but he looks very young. So he can pull this off for a little bit. It's been confirmed.
And I think I read that they've revealed Flash Thompson will be in the movie too. So if it's in high school, it makes sense. Maybe Joe Manganiello's still available for the part.
No, it's actually going to be the kid that was in Dope, if my memory is.
So he's going to be a person of color, Flash Thompson?
Indeed he is, yeah.
Okay, because I remember when they said the guy was going to be in the movie, people didn't know who he was going to be. But if he's going to be Flash, that works, man. That works. I like that.
And I forget what the other gal who'd like previously been nominated. There's so much information. I can't keep enough tabs open to get all this stuff. But the other gal, I guess she's a singer, Zaldana. I don't know.
Zendaya, I think is her name. My kids know who she is. She's on like a Disney show or something.
Okay, cute looking chick. She's going to be in the movie as somebody. She's not like she's not Mary Jane, but somebody who.
Yeah, they've said she's neither Mary Jane nor Gwen, which means she's going to be probably one or the other of those two.
I forget what. Probably no, but they did reveal her character's name, and I don't know nothing about the stuff because I don't read a lot of new Spider-Man stuff. But I guess she's been in an animated thing or something. But
okay,
I don't know. It looks good, and then of course we do have confirmation. You know, Michael Keaton is going to be Vulture. We got a cool look at the Vulture costume and everything. So
it was interesting because he was in the movie, then he was out of the movie, then he was back in it again, and now they've confirmed he's going to be Vulture, which is great because he can just break out the old Birdman costume.
Yeah, and at least, I'm liking the fact that he's not 90 years old because if anybody's read, like, Amazing Spider-Man #2, Vulture is just like the most geriatric old villain
and that's
ever.
Why John Malkovich would have been great casting if Sam Raimi had gotten to do what he wanted to do.
That would have been, honestly, I was like, when they came out with that, they were just like, yeah, I was going to do Vulture, and it was going to be Malkovich. And you're like, ooh, dang, that would have really been good. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with Keaton, though, and keeping Spider-Man young and keeping him in there, man. I'm really digging that idea. The only other thing that we'll talk about real quick, and again, I know we haven't covered everything. There's so much to cover, and we got a movie review. But man, for those of you who listen to Preacher Podcast, we've got a little sizzled reel for the next season of Preacher and Bruce. We finally get it, baby. They're going on the road.
I love it, man, but I've been loving everything I've seen come out of this, and that's something we'll probably have to talk a little bit about on Word of Garth or something this week, too.
We're going to get into a little bit of that over on Preacher Podcast, so why don't you go on down and, subscribe to us on all the places.
And the last San Diego Comic-Con news I'd like to throw in there before we actually have to bite the bullet and talk about Ghost Rider, but Winona Earp got renewed for a season 2, so Huntington's own Bo Smith, he's going to continue to get some checks for a character he created, so I'm happy for him.
Very nice, very nice. All right, kids, let's get into it. Oh, crud, what's been playing here in the background? I don't even know. That's a stupid Ghost Rider soundtrack didn't stop. Okay, let's get into it. Here is the trailer for Ghost Rider from 2007.
You should be taking a dirt nap after that ragdoll today.
I got lucky.
Luck don't cover it, JB. You got an angel looking after you.
Maybe it's something else.
Story goes that he'll be normal during the day, but at night, in the presence of evil, the Rider takes over.
I'm the only one who can walk in both worlds. I'm Ghost Rider.
Alrighty, that was a trailer for Ghost Rider, our retro review of this week. Here's the IMDb plotline. As we know, IMDb always 100% correct in everything they say and or do. Stunt motorcyclist Johnny Blaze gives up his soul to become a hell-blazing vigilante to fight against power-hungry Blackheart, the son of the devil himself. This is written and directed by Mark Steven Johnson, starring Nicolas Cage, Eva Mendes, Sam Elliott, Brett Cullen, Peter Fonda, Donnell Logue, and more. So we like I said, we covered Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance way back when on HMP. Bruce, talk to us. What do you got for the comic book connection for Ghost Rider this go round?
Well, the story of Ghost Rider's creation is both interesting and contentious. Now, generally, 3 people are credited with his creation: Gary Frederick, Roy Thomas, and Mike Ploog. But Gary Frederick believes that he's the one who really deserves the credit. Here's Roy Thomas's recollection of events. I'd made up a character as a villain in Daredevil, a very lackluster character called Stuntmaster, a motorcyclist. Anyway, when Gary Frederick started writing Daredevil, he said, instead of Stuntmaster, I'd like to make the villain a really weird motorcycle riding character called Ghost Rider. He didn't describe him. I said, yeah, Gary, there's only one thing wrong with it. And he kind of looked at me weird because we were old friends from Missouri. And I said, that's too good an idea to be just a villain in Daredevil. He should start out right away in his own book. When Gary wasn't there the day we were going to design it, Mike Ploog, who was going to be the artist, and I designed the character. I had this idea for the skull head, something like Elvis's 1968 special jumpsuit and so forth. And Ploog put the fire on the head just because he thought it looked nice. Gary liked it, so they went off and did it. Now, Frederick had a different point of view, and welcome to Ghost Rider Rashomon Edition. There's some disagreement between Roy, Mike, and I over that. I threatened on more than one occasion that if Marvel gets in a position where they're going to make a movie or make a lot of money off of it, I'm going to sue them. And I probably will. It was my idea. It was always my idea from the first time we talked about it. It turned out to be a guy with a flaming skull who rode a motorcycle. Plug seems to think the flaming skull was his idea, but to tell you the truth, it was my idea. And of course, Plug had something to say. Now, there's been all kinds of dialogue about who was the creator of Ghost Rider. Gary Friedrich was the writer on it. The flaming skull, that was the big area of dispute. Who thought of the flaming skull? To be honest with you, I can't remember. What else were you going to do with him? You couldn't put a helmet on him, so it was going to be a flaming skull. As far as his costume went, it was part of the old, the old Western Ghost Rider's costume with the Western panel front. The stripes down the arms and the legs were there merely so I could make the character's costume as black as I possibly could and still keep track of his body. It was the easiest way to design him. Well, in 2007, Frederick sued Marvel, and in a testament to the evil effectiveness of Disney lawyers, Frederick wound up paying $17,000 in damages. He had to cease to sell Ghost Rider-related items of his own creation, and he had to cease to promote himself as the creator of the character for financial gain.
USA.
Now, that's cold treatment for someone nobody disputes was at least part of the creative team. Wow. Well, anyway, it goes to show that Mephisto is alive and well in America's courtrooms, and perhaps Frederick did call on the spirit of vengeance because on June 11, 2013, the Second Court of Appeals judge named Denny Chin, who sounds like a Marvel character if you ask me.
That's true.
Overturned the original decision, calling the contract language ambiguous and sending the case back to trial. Soon after, Frederick's attorneys told the court that both parties have amicably agreed to resolve all claims. Did money change hands? I don't know, because the terms were undisclosed. But I'm hoping Frederick at least got his soul back, because I'm pretty sure Marvel got all rights to it in that very one-sided 1978 contract they had their creator sign. And take note, he was pressured into signing that 6 years after he had created the character. And that is all for this week's edition of HMP Legal Briefs.
I hear they got Suge Knight to go over and talk to him.
Hold him upside down out of a window. And he wrote Cold as Ice and gave it to Suge to pull it back up.
Just I'll do whatever. I didn't come up with Ghost Rider. I didn't come up with none of that garbage.
I can rhyme, though. Listen.
It's good. It's all good. So, yeah, man. So, 2007, the trailer came out for this. And I'll say this. At the time, it looked good. Like the CGI looked fairly promising.
I loved the character design in the trailer. I liked the movie the first time I saw it quite a bit. As time went by and we got other movies to see, it sort of fell way down the list on the best comic book movies ever made. But I'll be honest, I enjoyed it.
I ended up feeling this the second time the way I felt about it the first time, whereas it starts out kind of okay. Then in the middle, kind of starts to drag a little bit. And then by the end, I'm just going, please, dear Lord, when are the credits showing up? And it was about the same way this time.
That's how I've always felt about it. I love the first half or so of the movie. I mean, you said it was sort of okay. I really enjoy kind of the cheesiness of it. It really feels and looks comic book. It's a little ridiculous. And then it turns dark. I mean, all the color is gone from the movie suddenly, and it starts to be sort of incomprehensible. I felt like they had something really good going, and if they just kind of rid it out being a little simpler and cheesier and hokier, they probably would have had a better movie by the end. But I could sit and rewatch the first half of this movie over and over again.
Well, they went cheesier and hokier with the second one, and I don't know that worked.
But they didn't go like it. The second one didn't feel at all like the first half of this movie. It felt more like they were trying to amp up the second part of this movie to me.
Yeah, this thing
but
does.
I did like the first one better than the second one every time I viewed it.
It does start off very kind of comic booky style. We go to the Darkman Carnival, as I like to call it.
Well, I even like the way it starts out, and we have the old cowboy Ghost Rider kind of telling his story in the setup for this movie.
Yeah, good old gravelly Sam Elliott just giving us a Ram commercial for about.
And the comic book fan in me really liked it because, Ghost Rider, and they changed the name of the character to Phantom Rider, but the Ghost Rider that we think of isn't the original Marvel Ghost Rider. Back in the 60s, the early Silver Age, they had this Western comic with a guy who was like a cowboy vigilante who painted his body and his horse in some kind of phosphorescent paint so that he looked like a ghost, and he went around like Jonah Hexing things.
Boy, that turned out a lot better in Jonah Hex, didn't it? Oh, wait. Maybe not so much.
But, comics later have sort of retconned that original Old West Ghost Rider, the Carter Slade character, the Phantom Rider, to have been part of the ongoing Ghost Rider mythos.
Yeah, they give us a little kind of Phantom style of like, hey, there's always been one, the blah, 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 pass on, yada, 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 that and the other thing.
And I kind of want to see like the one that came in between them. Like, I don't know, somewhere between the downfall of the horse and then the prominence of the motorcycle. I don't know, like in the 1920s, there's probably like a Model T Ford guy with a like a flapper, ghost flapper running around. I don't know, 23 skidooing it up.
Yeah, they're riding like an early Indian or something.
With the sidecar. Has to have a sidecar.
With the sidecar. Ooh, and he's got like a sidekick and everything, but it's like it's a little person from the freak show from, I don't know why they're still all in circuses, but they got a little guy there, and what do we call that guy? He's got to have a name.
We'll call him what would be like Imp? He would call him Imp.
Little Firebrand. I don't know.
Yeah, and they're going around taking out Al Capone's thugs.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea a lot. We can let's get to work on that. Marvel, you owe us $20,000 a piece.
No, we have to pay Marvel $17,000.
Oh, dang.
Ghost Flapper.
It is what it is. Ghost Flapper does not. Ghost
and then
Flapper.
they made a smart move here. They streamlined Johnny Blaze's origin a little bit from the comics, because in the comics his dad dies. He gets sort of adopted by Roxanne's dad, and that's the motorcycle rider that gets cancer that he makes his pact with the devil for. I think that was unnecessarily complicated. They streamlined it for the movie. But man, let's talk about these young actors, because they've got a young Roxanne who I think they did a pretty darn good job of finding somebody that looked like a young Eva Mendes.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, that is no young Nicolas Cage, and thank goodness, hopefully no one is cursed with being a young Nicolas Cage at the time this movie was made.
We've got footage of young Nicolas Cage, and that he looked just as goofy back then.
Yeah, but I have a feeling like maybe Nic Cage was involved in the casting. He goes, yeah, that young, handsome, square-jawed guy looks just like me.
I think that's a good representation of what I look like in my own mind's eye when I was that age. Like, no.
I mean, granted, he's not as handsome as I am, but nobody is.
Yeah. You can't look in the mirror and just like, oh my gosh. And we'll talk about some of the things that Nic Cage does in this movie. Holy smokes, he's one of our most specialist of actors.
And he wasn't the first choice for Ghost Rider either. Johnny Depp was somehow loosely attached to this movie, and Nic Cage went all Nic Cage, man, the biggest comic book fan in Hollywood, the man whose birth name is Nick Coppola, and he chose his stage name to be that of Luke Cage. Yeah. The guy is a comic book fan.
Named his child Kal-El, so come on.
Yeah, he lobbied hard for this role, and he won out. Because could you imagine if you're Johnny Depp and all of a sudden this guy wants your role, you probably say, just let the guy have it. I'll go make a Pirates movie.
Yeah, look, I'm not the biggest fan of Johnny Depp in the latter years of his career, but I'll say this. Good move, Depp. Good move.
Oh, man, I can't even picture how he would play it.
I will say this, though. If there's anybody who would have given just a bug-out crazy performance outside of Nic Cage, it would be Johnny Depp.
Oh, I think he would have definitely brought an interpretation to it.
It'd have been weird,
But
man.
when was Pirates of the Caribbean made? Because once that movie was made, man, something happened. Every character he made, whether it's Willy Wonka or that Mad Hatter, they always seem just a little too cartoony ever since Pirates of the Caribbean.
I think that's when he started sniffing the glue or something. I don't know what happened, but he really got up his own keister after that. So, look, I'm glad he wasn't in this.
Yeah, I mean, this whether you think the movie's good or not, this movie is the perfect vehicle for Nic Cage.
Yeah,
I think it's appropriate because he's nuts, man, and I kind of like somebody who's nuts playing Ghost Rider.
Yeah, he really dials it up to 11. But yeah, I'm like the kids that they got for this are really good, and it is tough because Eva Mendes is a gorgeous looking lady, and she's very specific looking.
And to
they
find
did somebody
a really
that
good.
I was like, wow, this is like I didn't quite remember it as well as that. And I'm like, man, they got somebody who was like really could be her as a younger kid. So I
wondered, like, did they de-age her? Was there some CGI? Because it was really spot on the casting there.
Yeah, I was shocked. So that was really good. And you could see this kid, like, she's gorgeous. So you could see this kid going like, look, man, she's moving away. I got to do something about this. So,
oh, heck yeah, man.
You can definitely understand that.
And
then,
it also makes me wonder, there was a time where I thought Eva Mendes was going to be way more like famous than she is. I mean, she is one of the most beautiful women in Hollywood. I mean, striking, but she just, maybe it's because she's just not a very good actress, but even not being a good actress, you could land some really good roles as the hot lady. Something better than Hitch.
I don't know what she's doing, but I mean, I don't know that I blame her acting, because I think her acting is usually pretty fine in most of the stuff that she's in. But I don't know. Maybe she just likes being married to Ryan Gosling and cashing that check.
Man, if I were married to Ryan Gosling, I'd never get out of bed, if you catch my drift.
Me neither.
He's dreamy.
That's got to be a sexy bedroom, boy. Whew,
Could you imagine, though, how disappointed he would be if he came home and instead of Eva Mendes, there was old Bruce in my negligee?
Hello. It'd be great if he was just like, "Oh no, you're completely misunderstood. I'm game."
I love your gray beard, man. That's what he would say.
Stroking that thing, going, "Hey, very nice." But no, man. So, Dad's got cancer, coughing up a lung and everything.
Yeah.
And we would literally make a Faustian bargain, man.
And it turns out, like, monkey's paw style, a deal with the devil is not a deal you want to make, because he cures the cancer, but the guy dies off camera, by the way, in a motorcycle crash.
Okay, all right. So he goes to do like the same stunt that he's been doing, right? It's just like going from ramp to ramp in between a fiery hoop. He looks like he's going up to that ramp about 28 miles per hour, skids out like he slipped on a banana peel in Mario Kart.
And then his roasted body looks dismembered and stuff. Like, I can't imagine how that stunt went so horribly wrong.
He looks like he was going so slow, and it's just like, well, yeah, of course he's barbecue meat now. Look at him, jackass. So he gets barbecued up there, and then he basically says, "Look, man, I'm going to come back for you, when the time is right, and you're going to be my whatever."
And I kind of like it, that Mephistopheles, the devil in this movie, that he essentially makes Johnny Blaze indestructible. So he goes off and makes like the most ridiculous stunt career in the world. And, I know that in the 70s when Ghost Rider was created, Evel Knievel was a big deal. Mm-hmm. But in 2007, I don't think stadiums were selling out to see a guy do one jump hot rod style.
Stadiums. An entire
and pay-per-views. They even mentioned the pay-per-views.
They mentioned a pay-per-view. Well, he is jumping over like the cab of 37 semis.
And man, that crash at the end of that looked brutal. And from what I understand, that was a legitimate crash. Like, the stuntman wound up in the hospital. That wasn't exactly how it was supposed to go down, but it looked so good they kept it in the movie.
Heck yeah, man! When you get something that's like that, but I love the way that like he does crash and then slides back and then just kind of hits the thing. I thought it was all pretty well choreographed. And man, oh man, it's like I look at so much of the performance in this thing, and I just go, Nic Cage just was allowed to do whatever the heck he wanted.
Oh, man, that is the rumor. That is a very strong rumor. Also, sort of the behind the scenes, I think the special features on the DVD, which I do happen to own.
Poor man.
They reveal that Nicolas Cage did every scene exactly the way the director asked him. He'd do it a few times, so the director was happy with the shot. And then he had to agree to let Nicolas Cage just do it once his own way. And almost every time in the editing booth, they went with the lunatic Nic Cage interpretation.
Usually on movie sets, they allow that to happen just to let the dumb actor get it out of their system, and then they use all the normal stuff.
Yeah, but
they were like, nah, let's just go with the bonkers one. I think they realized what kind of a turd they had in their hand, and they're just like, screw it, let
maybe
do
that could redeem it. And also, when it comes to crazy actors, you have to admit that Nicolas Cage is a national treasure. You see what I did there?
You're just a horrible human being.
Now, Donald Logue, his mechanic. Mm-hmm. I guess he's his mechanic / stunt planner. I don't quite know.
Person who doesn't know what the hell is going on.
But why? Whose choice was it to make Donald Logue a redneck? Because he's not very good at that. Could they not have just had his mechanic come from Boston?
I don't know why any of these people are all Southern. It doesn't make any sense.
Johnny's from Texas, so I can understand that. But
that's not like any Texan I've ever heard, but okay.
Yeah, but they didn't have to make Donald Logue try his best to be from Georgia or something. He doesn't even sound like Texas. He doesn't sound like anything that exists in nature. I'll be honest here. But, you know, he has to say things like, you should be taking a dirt nap after that rag doll. I mean, he's trying hard, man. Bless his heart. He needed a paycheck. He had to put up with Nicolas Cage. But I don't understand why they didn't say, you know what, let's just lose the Southern thing and just go with the Donald Logue thing, because that can be enjoyable.
I guess. I don't know. It just seems so dumb. His guy, like, I don't know. Again, you're right. I don't know what he does.
And which do you think was worse, working with Wesley Snipes on Blade or working with Nicolas Cage on Ghost Rider?
Got to be Nicolas Cage. At least Wesley Snipes is just going to ignore you and then go to his trailer. And from what we've heard from other actors, just go to his trailer and smoke a lot of weed.
And I don't think that Wesley Snipes got real wacko till the sequels.
Yeah, he didn't get super nuts until the third one, from what I understand. Like super nuts till the third one.
Well, thanks to Patton Oswalt, we know all about that.
Indeed. We'll have to cover that at some point in the future.
But he meets Roxanne again, you know, Eva Mendes, his childhood sweetheart, who I guess he hasn't kept touch with in the past 10 years while he's been a super rich pay-per-view celebrity, and she's working at the local news station.
I've seen her on TV. I've seen her. She's there, and every once in a while I like the support you're doing. And here's the thing, man. Again, this comes to Adam's decade working in news. This is not how any of this crap works.
Oh, really?
No.
They don't just put her in a truck and send her out there unannounced to try to get an interview?
Well, I mean, yeah, they would have tried to put together something ahead of time, probably. But here's the big problem, is that they don't shoot anything. She insists on leaving. If she came back to that studio and had, like, the worst interview ever that's about maybe a minute and a half long of mostly him just going, oh, you're still looking pretty and everything. I like you. I've seen you on the TV. That's no bloody good. And then you don't even get that crap, and then you just decide, hey, we're just going to skip out because I don't want to be around here when he jumps. You would be fired in 2 seconds.
Especially missing the interview right after the big crash.
No cameraman in his right mind would have gotten into that car and drove her away. He'd have been like, no, we're going to be fired if we don't. They spent all this time and money to send us out here to do this. This is a story we've been assigned to. Maybe we should actually, I don't know, do the story.
But it does set up a pretty fun scene because she leaves before the jump and the big Black Hawk helicopters come down in the stadium, and Donald Logue is all
has no idea that the helicopters are there. You got like 4 Huey helicopters, bro. How do you not know this is happening?
And, you know, I love it at the top of the ramp when he goes, so she's probably on the interstate by now, right? And Donald Logue goes, who, what? And he just gasses it, like just without any warning, no ready, get set, here we go, just jumps it, and then apparently continues riding from the other side of the ramp, out of the stadium, onto the freeway without a helmet. And that is a lot of fun, man.
Because as we know,
made me nervous.
It's just a straight shot out of the stadium. You don't have to go through anything. You don't have to take any turns. It is just a straight-on shot, and you can catch up with them on I-95. What a load of crap.
Man, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun with Johnny Blaze out there on the interstate with his helmet off, pulling up beside the van, talking, and the whole game inside the van of Eva Mendes trying to pretend.
And his nose wheelie and everything.
Oh, man, goes over to talk to the cameraman who's driving the bus, who says, no, she's the boss. I have a feeling like the guy driving the van could have stopped if he wanted to. He's the Finnick, the Vern Finnick in this situation.
True. And then so he's just like, well, I'll stop him after an already sweeping in and out of a truck, almost getting murdered. Then he decides to, like, I'm going to just stop it in the middle of the road. That'll stop the van. We'll get out and have a lovely conversation. Hey, lady, what? I could be a stunt driver. And like, you suck.
And you know what I love, too, is that when he does stop, like all the traffic on the interstate, you expect people to be pissed off, and they instantly recognize him and all want his autograph because short of the 70s heyday of Evel Knievel, I'm not sure that any, like, X Games motorcycle jumper is universally recognized by housewives on the interstate like that.
Outside, maybe not even housewives, but maybe, like, the closest you could come is maybe a Tony Hawk.
Yeah, and if Tony Hawk were on a motorcycle, I'd stop for him.
I would too. I'd be like, what are you doing? Like skateboarding down the interstate at 70 miles an hour.
That would be awesome.
What kind
You'd have to have like Wile E. Coyote rockets on the back of a skateboard.
Oh, it says Acme on it and everything. I'm down. I'm down with that.
That's the movie I want to see.
So, I forget. Like I lose a little bit of time here because half of this after this is him just kind of making faces at the camera whenever he feels like it.
I mean, there's a couple of key points here. First off, he does convince her to go on a date with him. And I got to tell any listeners out there who like to go on dates. I mean, I've been married for a while, so my dates are not as exciting as this. But if you got a date with Eva Mendes, don't be late. If you have to, go to the restaurant the night before and sleep in the lobby because you don't want to be late with the date with Eva Mendes, do you?
No, sir. You were like, yeah, exactly. You sleep in that lobby overnight.
And I think it's somewhere in here where Donald Logue goes to talk to Johnny Blaze, and we get to watch the Kung Fu Chimpanzee on TV, which might be the highlight of this movie.
This seems like something that Nicolas Cage came up with. Hey, I'm going to watch a monkey karate
chop. He did. He had to. Who else is going to come up with karate monkey?
These monkeys are going to karate chop some boards. I think.
And a little Karen Carpenter playing. You know, you would expect the motorcycle racer maybe to be listening to some punk or something, or maybe even a little Southern rock.
Why is the Carpenters the thing that he decides to play?
Man, I don't know, but it was working for me.
It's superstar of all Carpenter songs.
Oh man,
it's the most sad Carpenter song. Like, just put a gun in your mouth, Carpenter song that there is. Holy smokes, man!
Yeah, I can't even remember her name. The lady that sang that Snowbird song. I like her a little bit better than Karen Carpenter anyway.
I'm like, it's so out of his and then when Donald Logue's coming into like the dressing room, hey, you're stepping on Karen.
And he's drinking a stiff martini glass full of jelly beans. I like it.
If you check the Instagram page for Here Movie Podcast, Here Movie Pod on the Instagram, I got a picture of me and I've got them right here. I've got some sour Skittles in a martini glass. That's what I'm eating during the show tonight.
Well, man, I love my jelly beans, but I've never tried the martini glass thing. That might be what I need to start doing.
This is Nic Cage being a jackass.
But if you can run across a DVD of that Kung Fu Chimpanzee, let me know about it because I'll buy that.
Why is that not surprising? That is right up your alley.
That was awesome, man. I would have loved it if that was his sidekick. Forget Donald Logue. Bring in the Kung Fu Chimpanzee to help him in the final battle.
Well, we got to set this chimp on fire. Are we going to do that in CGI? These people won't believe it. Set them on fire for reals.
And then, he stands up Eva Mendes. She's there just drinking far too much alcohol, I guess you could say. I mean,
she just grabs that guy and she's just like, keep on pouring. I'm a big girl.
and then when she grabs him and says, "You think I'm pretty, don't you?" I love the way the waiter is staring right at Eva Mendes, one of the most beautiful people on the planet. If you look at it statistically speaking, they're what, 4 or 5 billion people on Earth. She's definitely in the top 100,000, I'd say.
And it's like Seinfeld has said, 95% of them undateable.
Yeah, they all look like me and Costanza. But anyway, he just kind of looks at her and is like, meh. I love that,
I
man.
can take it or leave it. You're not my type, the pretty type that, is in here and asking me if she's pretty. I'd be like, we're going now. I quit this job, and we're doing whatever it is you want to do.
And a nice callback. They should have had him making out with Rebel Wilson in the credits.
I was excited. I was just like, holy crap, this is a very early Rebel Wilson role. I remember.
With dark hair. I didn't know she had dark hair back then.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, yeah, this was before anybody knew who she was. And she plays just like this silly, just kind of weird. She plays the roles that she kind of plays.
But, I was impressed that she put on an American accent. Once again, the foreign actor's way better at the American accent than I am at the foreign accents.
Hello, governor. That's no good. All right, moving on then.
But I think she would have been just as funny in her Rebel Wilson accent.
Yeah, anything that she ends up saying in movies is funny because I don't know. There's something about her. She's got that whatever she's saying is funny quality about her that I like. So.
And then, we get like the old Hell's Angels bar out in the middle of nowhere where Blackheart, the son of Mephistopheles, shows up for the first time. And, I don't quite know why he decided to go, of all places, to this biker bar and kill everyone to meet with his little legion of demons, his elemental legion of demons. But it did make for kind of a cool introduction to the character, I suppose, killing all the tough bikers who are obviously Hell's Angels. So, a little pun there.
Yeah. I mean, it was neat looking. I kind of like the effect of, kind of the eyes going in and everything, kind of turning skullish and everything. That was pretty cool. Wes Bentley can be hit or miss with me.
But doesn't he normally make, I don't want to say better movies, but not studio movies, like more independent stuff?
He tends to do a little bit more kind of independent-y sort of work.
Because I've always thought of him as maybe a better actor than this role would lead one to believe.
I mean, that's the thing. Like I said, he's hit or miss with me. He was in Final Girl just recently. That came out.
Now that one I get confused with Final Girls.
Yeah, this one is the singular one with
the one with Abigail Breslin.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But no, I mean he was good in that. But he's in smaller things, but every now and then he'll have like a studio because you got to get paid. So he'll have like a studio like an Interstellar or something like that. But by and large, it's more independent-y kind of things for sure.
Yeah, but anyway,
and then like an Underworld movie. So he's all.
And then he has his Monster Squad show up. We got like the Water Demon who's kind of cool there when his eyeball like drips off of his face, and we got the Dirt Demon. And we got the Air Demon. I can't keep all their names straight.
It's like the Captain Planet of villains.
Yeah, they're all elementals.
We get all the Planeteers together.
But Blackheart is not an elemental demon, so it was a weird theme to go with, to have the three of them and then not have, like, I don't know, more of an elemental theme. But when did Spider-Man 3 come out?
Oh, I got to say...
I'm thinking it was around this time.
Gotta be close, right?
Yeah, because I'm thinking that that Dirt Demon was a poor man Sandman.
Yeah, 2007, same year.
Yeah, so I have a feeling like that Dirt Demon was supposed to be maybe a poor man Sandman, but he does die first, so I guess we never get to know what he could have done.
I think I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and it gives us the good battle. Like, I think this is the only really good. Well, I like the jail scene too. But this first battle between Ghost Rider and Blackheart and his three minions, and he kills the dirt guy, the Sandman wannabe. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed that battle. It kind of shows us the indestructible nature of Ghost Rider. We get to see him convert his motorcycle into the Hell Chopper there. Converts Gracie into the Hell Chopper.
I love the transformation of the bike and everything. And now I like the way the skull looks a little bit better in Spirit of Vengeance, but by and large, Ghost Rider looks fine.
And, the skull in Spirit of Vengeance was a different CGI technique. It was like 5 years later or something, so they had improved that. One problem with the skull here in the CGI is its location and size is a little inconsistent. But once again, pure Nicolas Cage, the rumor is he had his skull X-rayed multiple times, and they used his actual skull as the model of the Ghost Rider skull.
Why am I not surprised?
I think a little brain damage might have occurred during all those X-rays.
We got to take 1,000 of them. Really? 1,000? We can do this in like 2 and have it be really, really accurate. Nope, 1,000.
And then, eventually Blackheart, something I don't understand. And tell me if you picked up what I missed. But the cops arrest Johnny Blaze. Mm-hmm. What exactly did they arrest him for?
I don't remember. I'm checked out at this point.
That's one thing I got to say. I've never seen the director's cut. Maybe it explains it better, but it seems sort of random that the cops arrest Johnny Blaze. But during the whole showdown with the cops, the Blackheart realizes that Eva Mendes is important to Ghost Rider, so he kidnaps her. Johnny Blaze goes to jail, turns into Ghost Rider in jail, and the one young kid is the only one who's nice to him, so he spares him his life and kills like all the thugs and gets out of the jail.
Maybe, but at the same time, he looks at everybody and he looks at him and goes innocent. And if you know anything, if we go through any biblical text, guess what? Everybody's guilty right off the bat. So you can't look at this kid and say he's innocent because at some point, just his existence had something to do, like he's done something wrong, so he's not innocent. I
know for a fact he cheated on a math test in 3rd grade.
I wouldn't be shocked. He pants somebody at some point.
Yeah, but anyway, he kills all the other sinners, I guess you could say, and he leaves to go.
That was kind of cool looking. I mean, I enjoyed that for what it was, and then I like the kind of like the kind of melting the bars off and everything.
And he powers up his jacket. The spikes grow out of his jacket and everything, which gives him an even cooler, though I will say more of a Danny Ketch look in my opinion.
True.
Still gives him a cooler Ghost Rider look, and then he goes off to the cemetery and meets the caretaker, good old Sam Elliott, who is another one of my all-time favorites, man. I loved him in The Big Lebowski.
I'm more of a Roadhouse guy myself.
I like that too, man. I've never seen Sam Elliott. I've seen him be in bad movies, but I've never seen a bad performance from the guy.
Nah, he's really great. There's I forget the name of the doggone flick right off the top of my head. There was one that he was in. It was either early this year or late last year. I think it was late last year actually. Called shucks. Let me bring it up here because I really think people should go and see it because it was I'll See You in My Dreams. Yeah, it came out last year. Really good flick.
I didn't know he was still making movies. I'm happy to hear that.
Oh yeah, man. He's Gosh, he was in like 6 things last year. So
Man, I would love to see him show up in Preacher eventually, but that's a story for another podcast.
that's true.
But in the interest of time, to move this story
He
forward.
fights people. Stuff happens. I mean,
to be honest, all the good stuff's pretty much over with the exception of Sam Elliott. And he has a little heart-to-heart with Sam Elliott and learns about the Ghost Rider, and he learns about the that contract for San Venganza with 1,000 souls, which in the grand scheme of things doesn't sound like that many souls to me.
yeah, and also at the same time, too, doesn't that sound like something David Goyer would make up?
David Goyer did the first draft of this movie, though he's not credited in what made it to screen. So probably.
Holy criminy! Wow, I am good because
Yes.
man, oh man, like just the name of the San Venganza, that sounds like Goyer to a T, man.
And, Goyer did the first draft, and then the director rewrote it enough to get the sole
full
writing
credit,
credit. But it was, the bare bones, the skeleton, if you will, was a Goyer script.
Skeleton.
And that's why Goyer did the sequel.
My gosh, well that makes more sense than I had even thought.
Yeah.
So wow.
But this maybe, I don't know if I want to say it's the coolest scene because there's a couple of cool scenes. This is a movie that you just want to watch for visual coolness, not so much story coolness.
Yeah, this is something that you show off like your home theater or something, to where it's just like, look how like cool everything looks, and the sound is all boomy.
But from the first time I saw it, and every single time I've watched it subsequently, man, I love it when Sam Elliott goes on one last ride with Johnny Blaze.
Oh,
and he
I do.
turns his horse into the flaming horse, and they play the kind of rock version of Riders in the Sky while they're doing their 500-mile trip to San Venganza. He gets the shotgun from Sam Elliott, and I'm loving the Carter Slade Ghost Rider and the horse keeping up no problem with the motorcycle, and it's just a beautiful image. I think that, there's artwork amongst like Harley Davidson aficionados that this is kind of based on, where there's like a motorcycle riding and then there's like a ghost of a cowboy on a horse riding alongside of him. I think that was definitely the inspiration for this visual, but I love this last ride. I just
And-
wish Carter Slade had stuck around
I
longer
was about
once
to
they
say,
get there.
and then they blow it.
Yeah.
Because you're like, yes, we got old Ghost Rider, we got current Ghost Rider. They're going to go in, they're going to kick this dude's butt. It is going to be amazingly cool. So he rides all the way there and just goes, well, that's it for me, partner. I used my last little bit of juice to go on this ride. I know I probably could have hopped on the back of your motorcycle and we could have really kicked some butt later. But no. I'm just going to go back.
Don't you
What a
agree?
load.
It would have given the finale of this movie a little bit of gravity. It would have upped it a little bit in the quality of the film if Sam Elliott's Ghost Rider, Carter Slade, had been killed by
Yeah.
Blackheart before Johnny Blaze is able to finally defeat him in the end.
Yeah, he's like trying to go after Eva Mendes or something, and then like he takes his eye off him for half a second. Sam Elliott's character dies, and then he's got to really go and get that final vengeance and everything. That totally would work.
It would have been great, man. It would be like, the same kind of gravity as Gwen Stacy dying in the comics against the Green Goblin or something. I could even see it. Sam Elliott, Carter Slade says, you go get the woman. I'll take care of Blackheart. And then, when he dies and he thinks that everything's going to be okay, then he really gets angry and discovers some new abilities or something against, he digs down deep and manages to defeat Blackheart with that vengeance stare. Once again, a Danny Ketch ability more than a Johnny Blaze ability.
And again, I thought it was really cool that once he kind of like took all the other like souls and stuff inside of him and everything, because he tries to penance stare him earlier in the movie, and he goes,
And he has no soul.
You can't do anything to me. I don't have a soul, so blah blah blah. And then so he finally goes, all right, well I've got you've ingested all of these souls and everything. Now I've got you, and then kind of gets him to his ultimate demise. That was kind of a neat thing. I did like how how like he transformed the shotgun, like he kind of he's in the daylight as Nic Cage himself, and then the arm kind of goes through, and then it gets the Ghost Rider transformation into the gun and everything. I thought that was kind of neat. That was,
and I liked it how Eva Mendes, man, she's a good Texas lady. She knows how to fire a shotgun from her hip. Uses her Kentucky windage to hit Blackheart a few times.
Listen, I've worked with a lot of ladies in news. No, no, they're most of them are fairly, gentle ladies, and that's the best way to
And
put
also, being from Texas, being really hot and being good with the shotgun, should be on Fox News.
That's true. She's not blonde enough. Not blonde enough.
That's true, man.
But
That Alice guy would have loved to have gotten his mitts on her.
But it's it could be worse. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not good, but it could be worse.
And after he takes down Blackheart with that penance stare, Peter Fonda shows back up, Mephistopheles. And we haven't really talked about Peter Fonda in this role because, man, he's pretty wooden. Not much is asked of him, and he gives even less.
Yeah, he just, like, I thought it in the theater, and I thought it again this time. It's like he's showing up for a paycheck, man.
And, I want to pose this question to you. Is Peter Fonda a one-hit wonder? Because I'm starting to, I look back over his body of work, and I honestly think he might legitimately be like a Hollywood one-hit wonder. His dad was a legendary actor, and that helped him get his foot in the door. He made a great counterculture movie and never really did much after that I can think of.
Well, I mean,
he was in Boondock Saints, too.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, I like Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry. That's a great flick.
Okay,
great
sure, man.
Car flick and everything. Look, I mean, I'm not going to say that I hold him in super high esteem. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about it, and I'm thinking his family, Henry Fonda was a legend. I'm a fan of Bridget Fonda, but Peter never really impressed me outside of Easy Rider.
He's got a lot of stuff, but nothing that I really kind of just go like, that's the thing. I mean, I liked more of his kind of like, back in the day stuff. It even before Easy Rider, the other biker flicks and stuff that he did, because that was kind of his bag.
Yeah, he did a Roger Corman biker flick, man.
He was the Trip and all that kind of stuff. Like all the older biker flicks, I kind of dig those more. But yeah, it is one of those. Father kind of trumped you. Sorry, buddy.
And also, I mean, it's that golden age of cinema when Easy Rider was made. That same time when Midnight Cowboy was made. Like actors, the directors would find a way to use an actor's limitations to really make him look good. Because Jon Voight isn't the actor I thought he was based on Midnight Cowboy. Peter Fonda is not the actor that I would think he would be based on Easy Rider. So I think those directors, when they really, really were the kings of the roost, had ways of making things turn out better than they would have in lesser hands or in the studio's hands.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's serviceable enough, but I mean, I don't just go like Peter Fonda, one of the greats. I just go, he's
But he's old enough now. He could do the reboot of On Golden Pond.
He could at this point.
Yeah.
But it's okay. So I don't know. Now before we get into rating this thing, we gotta do a little bit of work to do, Bruce.
Yes, I want to see what you got here.
Because Sean Keenan is out, and in his absence, I have a prepared statement.
Oh, really?
So Ghost Rider is directed by Mark. Oh, by the way, this is the Stallone connection. For those, I should have prefaced it because I'm just like, what if there's a new listener and they don't know what the heck we're about to do?
Yes, this is where Sean Keenan would normally connect every superhero movie ever made to Sylvester Stallone, but as he's off working on the sequel to The Secret Life of Pets, it falls into Adam's hands.
Here it goes. Ghost Rider is directed by Mark Steven Johnson. Now, as we mentioned before, MSJ, as he'll be known from here on out, is known best for directing Ben Affleck's Daredevil movie, as well as The Killing Season with Robert De Niro and John Travolta, as well as When in Rome and Simon Birch. And don't worry if you've never heard of those last two movies. Not a lot of buzz these days for movies starring Josh Duhamel and Oliver Platt, respectively, so, don't feel bad. Now, when he's not giving us bland rom-coms or De Niro movies that are darn near straight to DVD, MJS is off producing such gems as Elektra, the aforementioned When in Rome, and HMP stinker extraordinaire Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. Woo. Now, he also produced a movie called Grudge Match, also starring Robert De Niro, as well as the tallest short man you'll ever meet, Sylvester Stallone. Now, in Grudge Match, Stallone plays Henry the Razor Sharp. You see, because Razor's Sharp, his last name is Sharp, so that's a fine writing to me. Fine writing. Now, on my other podcast, The Film Fine, where Matt Smith and I review almost every new movie that hits theaters, we did not review Grudge Match. And why would we? Seeing Grudge Match would be like seeing your 85-year-old granddad hit on a 22-year-old at Sbarro. Sure, he can do it, but why would he put himself through it? Why would he put us through it? Nice try, Sly. Nice try. There you have it, HMPers, this week's Stallone connection. Now, Mickey, let's rate this bad boy so we can get ready to go see Alan Moore crying as Earl Grey next week.
Oh, yeah, man. I'm looking forward to next week's movie a little bit more than this one. But I enjoy the visuals in the first half of the movie, definitely. Even the visuals start to seem a little uninspired in the second half. And we've seen a lot of good movies. I mean, a lot of movies that have good parts and bad parts, and I just have to weigh, are the good parts good enough to sit through it? And if all the good parts were just in the beginning, I would say just watch the beginning and turn it off. But I want you to stick through and see the last ride and hear the Riders in the Sky rock music as they're going across the plane. So I think it's good enough. One thing I will say, this is no Stephanie Brown, man. This is not forgettable. So I am going to give this a Damian Wayne just because I like craziness. I like Donald Logue. I could probably go to the bathroom, read a book during some parts of it, but there's enough there that I have fun when I watch it. Definitely superior to that sequel that we already reviewed.
Yeah, I'm tough, man, because, like, I'll be honest with you, by the time that this thing was finished, I was screaming Jason Todd. Because I did not want to have to do anything with this movie. And I'll be honest, I think it's a lot like your kind of reaction last week, is I think I've had more fun talking about it than I did actually watching it.
Yeah.
I'm teetering, man. I'm gonna give it a very hesitant Stephanie Brown. I know you said we can't have Stephanie Brown, but I think
I was just speaking on my own behalf.
Yeah, I think this is just a Stephanie Brown, but just barely. Really teetering towards Jason Todd, because this movie is awful. The acting in it is awful. Nic Cage is the most hammy of ham, man. He is just chewing on the scenery, like looking in the mirror, like picking his nose up, doing a piggy nose and chomping at the thing, eating candy out of a martini glass, drinking.
Watching the Kung Fu Monkey alone should give it an extra Robin.
Kung Fu Monkey, which I wish was a movie that we were reviewing on this show instead of this one. Just Stephanie Brown, man, because I can't recommend it, but there are enough little bits in it that if you just kind of jump from scene to scene, you might get enough enjoyment out of. But, I don't know.
And I'm going to say this. I think Ghost Rider would work better as a series because he could be kind of episodic. He he punishes the evil person each week or each episode. So I don't know that a movie's the best form for this guy. I think he falls into that Punisher category where he works a little bit better as a force of nature than the leading man in a movie.
Well, speaking of episodic, though, you've seen that Ghost Rider himself is actually going to be coming to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, but that's Robbie Reyes. He's a Ghost Rider that drives a car, doesn't ride a motorcycle. But yeah, Marvel did get the rights to Ghost Rider back quite a couple years ago, actually, about the same time they got Daredevil.
Yeah, so I don't know, for whatever
he has
it is.
Been a part of the Defenders in the past, man. Maybe he will come to Netflix eventually.
Who's to say? Look, I'll still go on record as saying I just don't give a hoot as Ghost Rider as a character. Just never really has done it for me. I like Mark Textostra's, or I think that's how you pronounce his last name, Tex. That's just how
Teixeira.
There you go. Sure, I couldn't pronounce it. I knew that. I'm like, I just know him as Tex. I've always liked his. I love his Ghost Rider art. I just don't care about the character.
That's the thing. Ghost Rider really looks good on a page. He's a cool picture, but it doesn't always translate to live action.
Yeah. Anyways, that's it, everybody. So next week, we got a big one, Bruce.
Oh, yeah. And it's no joke.
I hate you. So next week in theaters, or well, actually, when you're hearing this, so on Monday and Tuesday, what's the date? I don't know. I don't know what today's date is. I'm that far.
July 25th and 26th. Fathom Events.
Yeah. So they've doubled it up to 2 days because apparently the tickets and stuff were selling so darn well that they're like, hey man. And I think even here in Charlotte, I know at least on Tuesday they're actually doing a 7:00 show and a 10:00 show.
Now here on Monday they're doing 2 shows, but no Tuesday show here.
So check it out. Check your local listings.
And it is available digitally on Tuesday or Wednesday for people who don't want to go to the theater and would rather pay $20-some bucks.
Well, it's like $16 on Blu-ray on Amazon right now. So, but we're going to be covering the animated adaptation of The Killing Joke. Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy are back, and they kind of tried to do a little kind of Brian Boland-esque sort of art and everything, and to have taken one of the classic one-shot things, expanded the story a little bit, and I haven't read much about it because I don't want anything kind of spoiled for what they've sort of added in here, but there is a little bit of controversy brewing about this movie and stuff that they've added.
And Mark Hamill's in it.
We shall talk about that.
But I suppose I will have a few words in the Comic Book Connection more than usual next week.
So I figured as much. So we'll be talking about that. So join us back here next week when we talk about that. Bruce, where in the meantime can we find more of your work on the internet this week, sir?
Preacher Podcast. We do 2 excellent podcasts every week talking about episodes of Preacher. We do the main podcast where we talk about the recap and analysis of the show. Then we do the Word of Garth for the hardcore fans who want to hear some of our theories and how it relates to the comics. And, of course, Chubby Wizard, chubbywizard.com. Fat magic is always fun.
Mm-hmm. And, of course, my other podcast, The Film Find, at thefilmfind.com. New releases every single week. And we'll be talking about a whole bunch of stuff. I don't even remember what I saw. Lights Out. I saw Lights Out. That was.
Did you see Star Trek?
I saw Lights Out. I saw Star Trek. Those are the 2 big ones this week. So
yeah, man, I saw Star Trek. I want to hear what you guys have to say about it.
Yeah, so tune into The Film Find, everybody. That's a good tease.
Are you still going to do Stranger Things? People listening to this podcast love Stranger Things.
Yeah, man. So Matt and I are actually we're gonna double up, and we're gonna do 2 episodes out this week. One where we're talking exclusively about Stranger Things, and we're gonna go into that entire series. So really, really enjoyed that. I know a lot of people are digging it, and we want people to know what we thought. So we're gonna break that good stuff down. So that's it, everybody. Join us back here next week for The Killing Joke for the absent Sean Keenan. Let's plug his stuff. Hero Movie Sean. Follow him on the tweets. Tweet him at him. Tell him you love him. Tell him you miss him. And why don't you go over and subscribe to Angry Gay Spider-Man on YouTube. It is quite funny. That is it, everybody. Until next week, for Bruce Leslie, the absent Sean Keenan, I'm Adam Portrais. Stay super, everybody.
Long ago, and oh so far away, I fell in love with you before the second show. Your guitar, it sounds so sweet and clear, but you're not really here. It's just the radio. Don't you remember you told me you loved me, baby? You said you'd be coming back this way again, baby. Baby, 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 oh baby, I love you, I really do. Loneliness is such a sad affair, and I can hardly wait to be with you again. What to say to make you come again? Baby, come back to me again and play your sad guitar.